Many thanks for staying with us and welcome back to the morning show here on Arise News. It's time now to review headlines on today's newspapers with Ombudsman of This Day and Arise Media Group and This Day Newspapers Limited Group Executive Director Kayode Komolafe. Good morning, KK.
Good morning, Abby.
Good morning, KK.
And welcome back, Steve.
Thank you, KK.
And welcome back, Oji, from the marathon.
From the marathon, right. Thank you. Good morning.
See you again.
Welcome
on the
back.
Sunday. How was your trip, Steve?
It was lovely, actually.
Yes?
You know,
Good.
A short break to recalibrate. It was nice.
Yes. All right.
All right, KK, we'll start, as always, with This Day on Sunday, where the lead story says, Udom Emmanuel, Tambuwal move to resolve PDP crisis. And with the rider, NWC begins reconciliatory talks, meets Ikpeazu, Makinde, Ugwaye. Bodejo denies ambition to succeed Ayu. Yet another political story on the strip down there. Labour Party cries out as police tear gas supporters in Ebonyi. That's a story on page 6 of today's This Day on Sunday. And on top of the lead, Nance vows to ground airports over ASU strike. And on top of the masthead, ADC crisis deepens as ousted Nwosu expels Kachiku, 7 state chairmen. That's on page 12 of the paper. And last but not the least is the story on the window. CBN, more commodities now being captured to earn $200 billion forex from non-oil exports. 200 exporters accounted for over 95% of $4.2 billion earned in 2021, says UBA. Those are the stories in today's paper, KK, for your analysis.
Yeah. Maybe we should start with the political story.
The PDP story.
PDP in the news, you know, but I wouldn't know whether it's for the right or the wrong reason, but it's in the news, you know. But you know, as an aside, one interesting thing about short story is that in a way, it's also keeping the party in the news, especially when you compare PDP with I think you have more than a dozen parties, at least that are presenting presidential candidates that are not even mentioned at all. So whether PDP is mentioned in relation to its internal ranking or whatever, at least it's
they've been mentioned.
So it's publicity of a kind. But seriously speaking, it is something to worry about. At 10 days to election, a major opposition party. I mean to the campaign. Sorry, yeah. So I'm sorry. 10 days to the commencement of the campaigns. PDP is still trying to put its house in order. In terms of structure of the party, who is the party chairman, and whatever. I think by now the party should be focusing, on its campaign strategies, how to get its message, across to the people, that even if you are having disagreement, it should be disagreement or perspectives on the party program. That perhaps the article plan, if there are members who feel there are certain areas we should deepen idea. I mean, should deepen the ideas, informing it, or the strategies. But then that is not what we have, But it is also important to say again, for the upturn time that all this, the wranglings, they are quite irrelevant to the people, because that is not the message, like I said, people want to hear. People want to see what is the plan, what will PDP and its candidates, do differently, in solving, the Nigerian problem. As to how you organize your party, what your structure is, I don't think that is quite relevant, And to buttress this, again, it's good to remind that it was this same presidential system that we were operating in 1979. The presidential system now is about 43 years now that Nigeria has been operating in. In 1979, Chief Awolowo was the presidential candidate of UPN. He was also the chairman of the party.
That's right.
So all this mystification about where the party comes, it's totally irrelevant. Yes, it's the same system. Yes, and there was other parties like that. So to me, I'm saying that it's not really as relevant, as people are putting it in terms of what. So what Nigeria should be focusing on, what a party should be doing is mobilizing people on how to find solutions to the problem. This is what we can do differently, and this is how we are going to do it. I'm And this is what we'll be having, rather than, hitting up the polity, and also, in a way, by the rhetoric of politicians, even further dividing, the country, like people are now talking of northern protectorate, and southern protectorate, all those Lugadian, terminologies, these are totally irrelevant. So I think it's advisable that 10 days to the commencement of the election, PDP by now ought to, put his house in order. And that means that the task before Governor Udom Emmanuel of Akwa Ibom State, who is the chairman of the campaign, and Governor Tambuwal of Sokoto State, who is the Director General of the campaign, that they have a lot of work to do, and it is perhaps promising that already they know that their job is well cut out for them, and they are already making the moves, such that in the next few days they should be able to, put to that. The other story, which I think we should also underline, that is what happened in Ebonyi.
Yes.
Yes, I think it should be stressed that freedom, of association,
yes,
to make public statement, about what you feel on any issue, either in support of a candidate or whatever, is a fundamental human right of Nigerians that should be respected. Those who are holding rallies and supporting their candidate, they have the right. But then it also should be stressed that it should be according to the law, because the police explanation, of what happened, from what the PPRO of the police in Ebonyi State said, is not satisfactory at all, because it just said they are acting according to the law. Because in terms of street protests, street marches, the position is that people have the right, but when you inform the police, it's not for the police to grant permission. That permission is already granted by under the Nigerian Constitution. So rather, it is the role of the police to ensure, that those who are on the street, are protected, and that nobody molests them. While also it is also the responsibility of those who are in prison that they also conform to that what they do is peaceful,
That's right.
That they don't antagonize anybody, nothing is destroyed, that they, and they don't disrupt the activities of other people,
yes,
on the street. So both sides, should get this quite clear, that whereas it is a non-negotiable right, or their right, to protest, but they should do according to the law. And the police should also be conscious of its duty, because there is still this hangover that you see some, police officers, ignorantly saying that, they were not granted permission. Nobody needs any permission of the police to express his
to gather.
But when you gather in the public space, because of the implication, the law says that you should inform the police so that it can perform the duty of protecting you, in the process of it.
Absolutely.
Because so that we don't have too many cases like this as the campaigns are commencing. I think it should be well understood by political actors, as well as the law enforcement agencies, that.
You're very correct.
Yes, because like I always say that, the greatest dividend of this democracy is freedom.
It is.
No roads and bridges and all the politicians talk about. That freedom, it is the greatest thing, that people have got in this, and that should be jealously protected.
Yes. Yeah. I think it has to be emphasized, particularly, where affects the supporters of OB and Labour Party, because this will be about the third time. There was one incident in Kaduna, one other place, and then Ebonyi. There are issues around the proposed rally for Labour Party in Lagos State. I think the authorities, especially the police, should not give the impression that they are trying to stifle, or stop, the UB movement at all costs.
That would be unacceptable.
That is the impression that they're giving at this point.
It's an issue of democracy, and it transcends even the Labour Party or whatever. I think that for Nigeria, we should protect that right, and it's a right that everybody is entitled to.
Absolutely. Which will probably also apply to what Nance is trying to do, because the Minister for Works said, recently that don't disturb people on Lagos-Ibadan Expressway, but then they are taking it to another level to say that they will.
Absolutely.
But for this particular incident, for the tear gas, the police tear gas in these supporters, they at this point have not released a statement as to as to why the actual tear gas occurred. I mean, these were peaceful rallies, supporters going around doing their own business.
The PRO of the police in Ebonyi State only said that the police acted within the law.
In accordance with the law.
Within the law, it's against the law to attack.
I mean, I'm just reporting. I'm reporting what I said. But I am not left. But what I know, as a citizen, is that those who are protesting is within their right to do so. Yeah. But in exercising that right, the police has a role, but that role should not be misunderstood, either by the protester or the police. That it's not for the police to grant protest, but for the police to protect them. So perhaps, like I don't, from the story, one could not actually get the story, the details, The police has not given the full reason, like you said, For instance, if they fail to inform the police, that will be an error on the part of the organizers of the protest. They need to inform the police, like I said, not to seek permission, but to even protect them. Protect them and ensure that you have public peace. Since we are going to be having more of activities like this in the next few months, it is important that perhaps the IG will need to again remind its men and its officers and men, of the ground rules, while political leaders too, candidates and political parties should also inform their supporters, of what they should do, Right. I think both sides, have a duty, in the interest of freedom and public peace. Yeah.
Okay. Very good.
Should we?
Yes, the Nance story.
The Nance,
yes, absolutely. I think it's a very important thing that what the Nance is doing is within their constitutional right. In fact, it is a duty.
Absolutely.
That they ought to have been doing this, long before.
That's what we discussed yesterday.
Given the tradition, the history of student unionism in Nigeria, dating back to the protests against the Nigerian Defense Pact of 1961.
Yes.
That in the last 60 years or even more than that, that should be the role of students. And especially when the issue involved now even affects students directly. Even issues that not affect students directly, that they ought to have intervened. But again, it should be stressed that it should be done peacefully. And also the authorities, and law enforcement agents to also respect that particular right and give them protection, in doing so.
Exactly.
The students should be cautious of the fact that they don't have the right, to be violent or to disrupt, a public peace. But if you are picketing, because and I actually support this picketing of the airport because it's directed against the elite, And I say that in this ASU, government, the Nigerian elite, both within power and outside power, they are quite complicit, and it's a moral question.
Absolutely.
That people who had the benefit of public education, funded by the public, who went to university, who have chains of degrees, without paying fees now. You have another generation that there is a crisis of funding, and people are just being hypocritical. Simply because you will afford to send your own children, to abroad, then you just see it as a ASU government problem you're having. So this protest, I believe that it is directed, against, not just against the government, but also against the Nigerian elite, both in and out of power, who, that we are not doing enough, to actually solve the problem. Because the challenge for this country now is for us to come on with a creative solution on how to fund public education. But what you have in place is just hypocrisy, Rather, what you have is some, public intellectuals. I'm talking about people like us. Absolutely. Is either you take one side, insult the university lecturers, abuse them, and without offering any creative solution, or on the other side, just attack the government. So I think that if we see that this is a collective problem, it's a national problem, because if a nation is not conscious of the fact that for months university that is the center for production of knowledge is shut down, and we don't see it as a matter of national emergency, it is just sheer social responsibility, on the part of everybody. So if the action of NANS is to wake up everybody to action. Yes. I think it is quite legitimate, but again, it must be stressed that it should be done peacefully,
Right, Thank you so much. Let's do start quickly so that we can.
Right, of course, transiting from a somber note to a breathtaking image on this day's style of Senator on the heels of a 70th birthday. This is what she looks like. Of course, I would expect it's more Senator Daisy Danjuma, who was a politician and businesswoman, well, a former senator. First female senator for Edo State in the past.
Do we know?
No.
Sorry,
from Edo State.
From Edo State.
Okay,
yes.
Do
we know who took this picture?
I don't know,
like
but it is.
Yes,
it's really almost ethereal, very breezy. I love the colors, the grading.
Absolutely.
But she just celebrated her 70th birthday, and it was beautiful. We took it on Arise News, and we covered it. And there were a lot of dignitaries that attended the event.
If 70 looks like this,
If 70 looks like this,
who wouldn't want to be 70?
I better look like.
I'm taking notes.
What did I tell you? It is T.Y. Bello.
It's
I can tell that. Yes, I can tell.
Brilliant.
Beautiful. Happy birthday again. It's a beautiful cover.
Absolutely.
Well done to Kanye.
Happy birthday to Auntie Daisy.
Yes.
All right, let's do the Punch newspaper.
Sunday
the lead
Punch.
story there, campaigns. Police threaten prosecution against hate speech, say cyberbullying is criminal. The writers there ask victims to report, promise prompt response. Nigeria safe enough for 2023 elections. Why CPs can't grant requests for escorts, says Force PRO. I guess we can read more on that on page 3. Another writer there, APC, PDP, NNPP, SDP vow to run decent campaigns. There's a story that I really love on this Sunday Punch, which is the story beneath the lead story there, the last box there. Mom's activism has cost children lots of opportunities. This is Obi Ezekwesili's son. I mean, I guess it's about, the moms pushing their children to do
the human angle to
the story there. And I love stories like that. Another story there, Buhari's regime has killed Nigerians' confidence. That says SDP presidential candidate Adebayo. And then another mom story, another human angle story. Akeredolu says he will miss his mother's prayers.
Yeah.
Well, I guess
she was 90 or something?
Yeah.
90,
Yes. May her soul rest in peace.
Quickly first,
we don't have much time.
condolences to
Governor Akeredolu
on the death of his mother. He's already Nigerian. And the story of cyberbullying and the police action. I think, again, the point should be made. It is in our collective interest to continue to defend free speech. It's one of the freedoms that we have. But again, even as a reporter, I believe that we must distinguish between free speech and hate speech.
That's right.
Hate speech is a threat. Lawyers have, some of the things that go on in the social media, in the cyberspace, they are quite dangerous, especially that they are going into politics, So when people continue to hate, especially on the fault lines, religion and ethnicity, I mean, it's happened. It happened in Kenya the other day and elsewhere. So while we should defend free speech, we must fight against hate speech because of the danger. It's not just a rhetorical question. It's things that can cost blood and tears.
Balance it.
So it is the interest of everybody, to fight against hate speech. But in doing so, it should not be an excuse for the police to muzzle people's freedom.
Absolutely.
Well said.
Absolutely, Keke. Thank you so much. And that brings us to the end of the morning show today. Thank you for watching, and do stay safe. I'm Steve Ayorinde.
I am Abby Owolawi.
And I'm Oji Okwe. From our entire team here in Lagos, Nigeria. Enjoy the rest of your morning and, of course, the rest of your day. Goodbye.